Om Shri Ved Purushaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Vakyadebhyai Namo Namaha. Om Shri Saraswatyai Namo Namaha. Om Shri Angirasaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Kapilaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Gargaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Vedavyasaya Namo Namaha. Om Shri Dharmaya Namo Namaha. Om Samast Matra Shakyai Namo Namaha. Om Shri Radha Krishnabhyam Namo Namaha. My humble pranam to all of you, such a distinguished audience, present and future. And let's move on to this Tirth Yatra with an understanding that towards the end of this yatra, we all will be enlightened and we will all be seeing some internal transformation in a positive sense. That's the purpose of this course. I'm introducing and bringing in a broader view, broader themes in this course. And newer ideas, new articulation, new questions, new answers as we go along. And for some of you, the subject matter may be difficult to grasp in 50 minutes or 1 hour. I will strongly suggest you and encourage you to please go back and look at the Google class website, where you will have all the information available. You can listen to, you can read through over and over. But I want this course to be very effective in communicating the foundational ideas. And those foundational ideas have to be imbibed. They have to be atmasat karna. They have to be flowing in our flesh and blood. Otherwise, this exercise remains simply exercise. It does not serve the purpose it's supposed to serve. So with this brief note, let us move on. Critical thoughts from distinguished thinkers, writers, and experts in different areas. In the morning, I bathe my intellect in the stupendous and cosmological philosophy of the Bhagavad Gita, in comparison with which our modern world and its literature seem puny and trivial. What a strong, authentic statement by Henry David Thoreau. He is considered Walden Pond, you might have heard of it, father of the American Transcendental Movement. Then great philosopher Arthur Schopenhauer, who was deeply influenced by the Vedic wisdom. And he says, Christianity can never convert India. The original wisdom of the human race will not be pushed aside by what happens in Galilee. This is the Arthur Schopenhauer. Let us look at one very powerful quotation on American mind. As a teacher in philosophy, a very dubious profession in this country, a very dubious profession in this country. I am in a position to observe how precarious to hold the intellect has upon American life. And this is not true merely of the great majority of students, but by the cultural people and of intellectuals to whom here in America, a philosophical idea is an alien, embarrassing thing. In their actual life, Americans are not only non-intellectual, but anti-intellectual people. So American is a new human type, rough and ready, pragmatist. Abstract ideas, theories, philosophies, American mind does not care about. And this is by Dr. William Barrett, one of the most distinguished professor, and international authority on existential philosophy. So while we are living in America or outside America, we should be aware of the pros and cons of American mind, how the American mind thinks, what they think, how they carry on their inner world to the outer world, including contemporary new development called woke culture. So Lokasamgraha Yogadharma Kshetra is a sadhana. This sadhana is even for a yogi, those who have reached the yogic experience and the highest state of yogic meditation. Even for them, Lokasamgraha Yogadharma is a sadhana. They must be engaged for the rest of the world, human world, physical world, and the non-human living world. Last time from lesson 5, I'm presenting a couple of view graphs to refresh our memory. Representation of universal world. Human being with the body at the center, and then the outer world is surrounding this human individual. And this individual, you have a human body, its own internal world or loka. Each and every human being has their own loka, their own experiences, their own aspiration, their own thought structure. Then surrounding is the social and natural world. And between them, the mutual interaction, exchange take place. And that comes under the what we call Lokasamgraha Dharma Yoga. Let's define further the configuration which I have laid down here. Representation. These are the existential levels, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. So A is for individual loka, B for family world, C for group loka, D for society loka, E for national loka, then F for international loka. Bhur, Bhuvaswa, 3 lokas, and H is beyond. So this is the, whenever we try to define and categorize and classify a unified whole into components, organic components to be truthfully, accurate, then this is called the Sankhya Darshan. I'm not going to elaborate here, but eventually I will take up little later. So based on these lectures and lesson number 5, with those configurations, I am raising some important questions. How one can develop an organic interconnectivity and interrelationship with the world at large through successive surroundings represented by A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. How one can develop relationship or interconnectivity. Whether we like it or not like it, when individual comes in this world, take birth, immediately is surrounded by its environment, biological environment. And after taking the birth, now surrounded by family, society, nation, internation, the planets and the cosmos. So we cannot simply ignore it or get out of it. So that's why how to deal with it without getting trapped in it. Then what kinds of interconnectivity and relationship can be most purposeful and meaningful to both the individual and surrounding entities, the human world, natural world, physical world? Any arbitrary relationship or interconnectivity will not work, will not be very purposeful and meaningful. So what kind of interconnectivity we are looking for? Before we can answer these two prominent questions, we have to first answer the question, what kind of tools and techniques individual had? It means, who is that individual who's trying to interact and deal with the surrounding, with the world at large? Otherwise, if we cannot define who the individual is, then you cannot even talk about the interconnectivity, interrelationship, and you cannot even talk about the Lokasamgraha Yogadharma Yoga. This is the very important understanding as we go along to answer these questions. That's what the course is about. And this course, the first course, is the foundational aspect. Eventually, the next course will deal with the practical aspects, how these theoretical constructs and ideas can be translated into practice to make this individual worth living and the world worth living, how we can positively contribute. So this is the sequence of courses that I'm planning to work on. And so this is the first course of its kind. Most satisfactory answers are through the vehicles of doctrines and practices of disciplines of Yogadharma Kshetra. Through doctrines and practices of Yogadharma Kshetra, we can create a vehicle through which we can swim through this Yogadharma Kshetra. We can swim through individual inner personality and external world. Therefore, remaining classes will address the above disciplines, showing Lokasamgraha Yogadharma Kshetra becomes unified ground, employing the plurality, diversity, beauty, and mystery of the very existence in all its dimensions. So now, before we can answer those questions, we have to know really who we are. Human identity, definition, and characteristics have to be placed. Any, even physical world, take a lump of clay, for example, and you want to have the interaction and meaningful existence of this clay with the rest of the world, you have to know what the clay properties are, what the characteristics are, what their inner personality is. These clay materials, including all the material world. Each and every individual living human being, a living individual, including the whole physical world, trees, vanaspati, all kinds of diversity that you see in nature. Before we can develop the relationship, we have to know the internal characteristics of that particular entity. This is the fundamental rule of Jnana Vigyan of Vedic wisdom, which also translates into modern science and technology. We have to know what you are before we can cure you, before we can fix you. So, who am I? That's the fundamental question we have to ask. Every one of us is a Purusha or Atman, self, pure consciousness, situated in the field of heart. B, I am a part and parcel of the Akshar Brahman or Purushottam or Paramatman as Antaryami or Ishvara, again situated in the field of heart. I have a Sarira, the subfield of Prakriti, incomprehensibly complex, multidimensional, and mutually interacting with each other. These are the three important characteristics we have to address at the outset. Very important in normal YouTube channels or normal discourses. Majority of the speakers and the saints and sages, they will talk about who am I? They will answer the question, I am Atman, I am Brahman. That is incomplete understanding of the world and my own human personality. I have to have three things: Purusha or Atman, Akshar Brahman, and Sharira, the body. Sometimes I get questions like this: Purusha is the male gender or female gender, what it is? No, Purusha is a neutral gender. This means Puri Sadha, one who sits in the body, is a neutral gender, nothing to do with the male or female identification of human body. Human personality, let's look at the first Western paradox. There are three schools of thought: blank slate with nurture centered, Marxist and leftist, etc. That's their foundational philosophy. That when you are born, you are a blank slate. Whatever you become, it is because of the nurturing around you, because of the society around you, their norms, their ideas, their religions. So basically, human being comes in this world as a blank slate, and then the world process imposed a graft on the individual, what we call the human nature. Then there is another school of thought, innate nature centered, which is a fixed nature. They are reductionist and materialist. They say once you are born, your nature is fixed. Cannot change it. So this is another school of thought. There are third school of thoughts called nature nurture centered. This is new age scientists and many others trying to foster this idea that there are two aspects. There is a innate nature when the child is born. Then it interacts with the nurturing environment around, starting from the very conception. What the Vedic doctrines are, the innate previous sanskar and total environment surrounding the developing fetus in mother's womb interactively influence the development of personality, swadharma, swabhava dharma. So emergence of individual personality is the interactive field or kshetra of past karma, sanskaras, nurturing, family and social conditioning, giving rise to new karma. In contemporary scientific world, as well as Abrahamic traditions, it means Jewish, Christianity and Islamic traditions, past karma or karma siddhant is not there, simply totally missing. As a result, there is no rebirth phenomena. As a result, there is no near-death experiences. As we go along, we will talk more about it. So this is a very fundamental difference in the very foundational principles of the Vedic thoughts versus non-Vedic thought. Here is, for example, one category. There are several categories that I'm going to define what is human body, what is human personality. It's not one category, there's several categories. And these each individual categories have a give rise to different worldviews and give rise to different practices. Normally, preachers and teachers will tell you one of the categories only. They prefer not to give totality of the categories. So this is what the uniqueness in this lecture, that I'm bringing in the totality with adding some new dimensions to it. This is, for example, you don't have to go through, these are the, in the Sankhya Karika of Ishvara Krishna, classical Sankhya Yoga, there are only 25 tattvas, but there are really 27 tattvas in Srimad Bhagavat, Kapil Muni Sankhya Yoga, which I consider to be complete Sankhya Yoga, where we have Purushottam is differentiated into Purusha and Prakriti. Purusha we have talked about. And this is the Purusha is called also self-consciousness. And then it divides up. Buddhi, Ahankar, Man, and all the sense organs, action organs, subtle element, gross element, they come from the original source of Ahankara, which comes from the Prakriti field. You can see here the one became many, how the unfolding takes place, how the evolution takes place from one entity, Prakriti and Purusha together are joined. That's the first yoga. First yoga happened when Purusha and Prakriti combined together, joined together to unfold the total diversity, material, non-material, physical world, human world, animal world. This is the most wonderful system of thoughts, the idea the doctrine. Remember, the contemporary scientists are looking for that one unique principle through which the unfolding of the physical world took place. So going to elementary particles, to quantum particles, going deeper and deeper and deeper, still we have not found out the unified viewpoint correlating the four fundamental forces. So that's the compare and contrast as we go along. These are the sense organs, and call time. Even we have not determined yet what the meaning and purpose of time is. I'm not going to dwell upon it at this time, but it's an independent tattva. And then when manifests, it goes through a differentiation process, then each time limb or part gets embedded in each of the human body or non-human body. That's why we have different ages for different kind of bodies. One thought experiment and one question. Sense of smell, sense of taste, sense of touch, sense of form, sense of sound came from Rajas Ahankar. There are three kinds of Ahankar: Rajas Ahankar, Sattvic Ahankar, and Tamas Ahankar. This came from Rajas Ahankar. Normally, they are separate in distance, differentiated from the common source, Rajas Ahankar. I had raised this question several years ago, looking at this Sankhya Yoga tradition. They were all intermingled and coupled before they got differentiated and separated. Can they remain entangled and non-separated when a child becomes adult? In development of child, if you look at the contemporary biological development of the fetus, you'll find out they are all intermingled. They are all coupled. Slowly and slowly, they differentiate out and become their independent entity. The question is, can they remain intermingled coupled? Yes. This condition is called synesthesia. Not anesthesia, but synesthesia. First is what discovered in 1812. And then it remains dormant. This idea was not authentically developed till the Professor Richard Kajtovic in 1993 published the book, The Man Who Tasted Sapes. Very, very important. And this is the result of what we call entanglement and coupling of these senses when senses have been developed fully. This phenomena, I have a question. Indian doctors, biologists, saints, yoga practitioners, they don't discover this phenomena. Why? Because we were not interested on Prakriti. We were not interested in the Sankhya Yoga tradition. We were interested only one form of Vedanta, that Brahma Satyam Jagan Mithya, why you have to worry about. And what this phenomena is. What this phenomena is, that when you eat the food, simultaneously you are eating what you call the triangles, rectangles. It means shape and form at the same time. When you pronounce the letters, alphabets, they also simultaneously project the numbers, days of the week. It means mode of seeing, mode of smell, mode of taste, touch, form, and sound. They got intermingled. This is called the abnormality, which has been observed in, I think, thousands and thousands of people worldwide. This is very important. This is the fundamental what you call illustration I'm giving you, which really tells me that yes, Sankhya Yoga Darshan has such a great potential in application even in the medical sciences under modern experience and context. Let's look at further. B, metaphysically, body. Purusha, eternal, blissful, causal body, subtle body, gross body. When you subtle body and gross body meets death, causal body, carriers of karmic residues, birth to birth. It goes with the Atman enveloped by causal body, goes out and takes another birth. This is a rebirth phenomenon. Then there's a C called layered body. You might have sung 5 layers, Panchakosha. You might have heard of Panchakosha. Normally, Panchakosas are these: Annamaya, Pranamaya, Manomaya, Vikhyanamaya, and Anandamaya. Gross material, vitality, fluidity, Pranamaya, mental, intelligence, rationality, and the blissful Atman, Paramatman. I have created 2 more layers. So now it is a 7 layers, 7 kosha: Ahankarmaya and Hridayamaya. Ahankar actually means literally eye maker, identity maker. And Hridaya is the concept and ideas and the organ that create integrative emotional seat of human love, divine love, etc. The Dhi, the wisdom, essence of wisdom, the root of wisdom gets situated and gets unfolded from within the field of heart, Hridaya. This is the C category. Another category, psychogeneric body, psychoenergetic body, which is basis for Kundalini Yoga. There are 7 chakras and the center of yogic energy. So this is another identification of the human body. Then we have another body called biological machine, yantra. Human body as yantra is also one of the models in Hindu wisdom field within the Maya Sakti context. And this biological machine, body as a biological machine, is the central doctrine in the modern Western medical system. So all the health, disease, healing are looked at and taken care of with this idea that human body is only a machine. This approach, called the reductionism, is unidimensional, has serious limitations, drawback, and shortcomings. And yoga, the whole field of yoga, whole other fields which I am describing here, identification, do not appear in the modern Western scientific world. Prakritik Guna Kshetra fields, Sattvic mode, Rajas mode, Tamas mode, and amalgamated Mishrit mode. So I want to make sure that no Sattvic mode alone can exist in the Prakriti, in the nature. It has to be with Rajas and Tamas. Normally they are Mishrit, they are amalgamated, they are all together. That's the wonder of the very nature of Prakriti, Now, some of you may, let me give you a simple example. What do you mean by sattvic yoga? What do you mean by rajas tamas mode? Suppose the audience, some of you may be coming with the great enthusiasm and something to learn and carry with you without any prejudices. Though that kind of audience is in the sattvic vritti. Those who come and listen to with the conflicts, with the arrogance, with the sense of prejudice, they still listen, but they cannot absorb, integrate their existing wisdom. Such vritti is called rajas vritti. What is tamas vritti? This opposite is sattva, darkness, inertia. Those who come in this kind of a class with this kind of a vritti or attitude, well, I have at this hour nothing to do except kill my time. I will be sitting in for 1 hour, eating, talking, or wandering my mind around whatever I've been doing throughout the day. I'm not focusing. I'm simply here to kill my time. Such vritti is tamasic vritti. Then there is another important classification, Antahakarana Yoga Kshetra. 4 entities, Chitta, Ahankar, Manas, and Buddhi. Manas is not mind, my dear listeners. Manas and Buddhi are separate faculty. Mind includes both the aspect related to Manas and Buddhi. We will not go into it at this time. Then there's the field of medicine, health, and healing, biochemical machine. This is the only mode of expressing the human personality. Anatomical, physiological, biological, chemical, neurological, genetical, epigenetical. This is also a field of what you call the Ayurveda. That's the exclusively Ayurveda that deals this human body as a biochemical machine, along with other fields that we have been mentioning about so far. Then also within the Vedic wisdom tradition, human body as a veena, a musical instrument. This body is the veena. As a result, you have a dance and song of the cell. Each and every organ is having a dance and vibrations, sound vibration, electromagnetic vibrations. So this is going on. This is the Veena. And then other fields I'm suggesting there is a social body, literary body, political body, artistic body, a sports body, where entire Antahakarana, entire all the senses, all the tattvas are flooded with one of these fields. Total body becomes a social body, total body becomes literary body, a political body. So these are the other fields we have to define as the characterization of human body. Primary existential dimensions also K, Adidevik, Adhyatmik, Adibhautik, Prana field, 10 subfields, and heart field. What is the conclusion? Each of these fields and categorization and classifications need further expansion, and each can devote the entire 6 months of lecture series. But that's not our primary aim for this course. Primary aim of this course, Lokasamgraha Yogadharma, and this identity of human body through which we are going to interact internally within myself and externally with the world. That's the reason behind listing down all the ever identification of human body personality create an almost incomprehensible diversity and variety of yoga dharmic principles and practices. All kinds of yogas, all kinds of dharmic practices, they are manifestation of the identity matrix that we are mentioning here through different classifications, my dear listeners. So here actually, let me go a little back before I do the mantra. This is the preview for the next lecture. Yogadharma Kshetra continue. I am asking and requesting to each of you, please refer to the slides 5 and 6 of this lecture. And great question comes up. We have talked about Lokasamgraha Yogadharma Kshetra. We have talked about at length Lokasamgraha. Then through this Yogadharma, as we mentioned earlier, we are going to reconnect and develop relationship with not only within ourselves, but with the rest of the world. So the great question at this moment comes up to, what is yoga? The following lecture on, I think it's 26th of August, will deal with this issue. What is yoga? It will propose and discuss new classification categories to address yoga traditions in totality and its pervasiveness, wonder, and beauty. And you might see in the middle picture here, the tree symbol. I will bring this tree symbol over and over and over. How to represent physically this diversity. Sorry. Concept of Vriksha. All the way it is found in Rigveda. Vriksha. So that's why I've chosen this particular representation of the yoga dharmic tradition, and it will be represented through Vriksha, where you have a mold, where you have foundational roots and how they grow and develop into different branches. From then within each of the major branches, trunks, then you have additional branches, then additional branches. Finally, you end up with the leaves and flowers and fruits. So this will be the next lecture, because I don't want to hold you up for longer than this. But now, let us sing together this mantra, which really gives us the gist of the gathering, collective understanding and actions together. Om Sahana Vavatu Sahanau Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahai Tejastu Navidhitumastu Ma Vidvasavahai. Om Santi 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 Hari Om. Before we go question answer, I want to apologize for any offenses that I have committed, knowingly or unknowingly. You are so wonderful, and I need your blessings. You are so great. Please Let us continue this journey together, together, together. Thank you so much. Now I will have the, what you call the 15-20 minute session for the for question answers. Shruti ji?
Yes, Professor. If anybody has questions, they can ask.
Sometimes I have one comment. Sometimes if I don't get any question, no matter how simple or complex the question is, difficult the question is, if I don't get in question, I can infer two things. I think somebody is raising question, so let us deal with that question and the distinguished listener. Yes, sir.
Okay, pranam to you. I've been listening all your lectures this time and also in the past, and this all really I try to understand one thing, that isn't it, it is all the endeavor of my mind that creates everything. Isn't it my own thought process in the mind? I don't know, it is the endeavor of the mind. You may use the term intelligence, mana, all these things. Isn't it that is all is creating all those things? If for a minute my mind were to be blank altogether, it can't create anything. If my mind is only, or because of my mind and senses and all organs, everything you are talking, and I've been making my clear-cut small notes also. Aren't the minds, it is the endeavor of the mind which creates all those things? Or, and if mind is, there is nothing like that, then we become altogether a non-living. So can you just elaborate and clarify on this?
That's a great question. Let me elaborate it on this one. See, I will not say only mind, I will say Antakarana Kshetra. That's why I use that qualification, where you have Chit, Ankar, Man, and Buddhi. There are two kinds of thoughts in the contemporary scientific world. One thought is, say, well, the world outside of human mind does not exist. It's all illusion. Another thought that no, mind does not create the outer world. The outer world, total existence created simultaneously. This is what the Sankhya Yoga is about. So what you create, look at the, so in human terms, look at the external world before you look at the internal world. I close my eyes, I don't think I can believe in that the external world disappeared, does not exist. I don't see it, does not mean the existence is not there. We see the world, another next question comes up, that's why Antahkaran comes up. How do I see the world? How to interpret the world? How to make meaning and purpose of the existence itself? When we start using these questions to find the proper answer, then we go to Antakarana Kshetra. Always, whatever's out there in the world is within me. Whatever is within me, all the forces outside in the world. So we are really in the participatory mode of living with the rest of the world. If we isolate ourselves, then ultimate isolation comes when Prakriti and Purusa become separated. And you are situated in Atmic mode. Then you see the Atman and Brahman equation becomes applicable. Then you'd see the world, still you see the existence, but you see the existence, you are not entangled. You have a, what you call the ultimate consciousness that does not depend on the material world. So this is the Antahkaran does create the understanding about the material world. All the senses really, through senses, through antakaran, mind, buddhi, ahankara and chitra, we try to experience within ourselves internal world and outer world. And what you see here, let's take a case here. When a person goes in coma, person cannot communicate with any of these senses with the outer world. Okay, does that mean the outer world does not exist? Families do not exist? The human world does not exist? No, but that person has been disabled. The brain disability then does not let the manifestation of those senses that will register and communicate with you. Internally, he or she may still be experiencing a lot of things, but cannot be communicated. So in short, yes, the Vedic wisdom traditions say both are together. In the Sankhya Yoga Darshan, all this are together. The human personality, the antakaran and material world and senses, they all came together, born together. And then they got separated. And once this separation has taken place, then where the yoga comes from? Yoga simply fundamentally the most ground level, how we can regather the diversity to see the source and unity, going backward, enfolding. That's what the whole Vedic wisdom tradition is. Evolution, unfolding, enfolding. That's the process. I will be discussing these things when we go to the next lesson, yoga, some of the other lessons. You have been so kind to ask such a wonderful question. And I think they'll help me to clarify my own understanding and comprehension, my own yogic sadhana. And also, I think it's a good for all the audience. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate.
नमस्कार,
नमस्कार।
मैं देवी प्रसाद मिश्र बोल रहा हूँ।
मिश्रा जी नमस्कार, बहुत बहुत
नमस्कार, नमस्कार।
that you could be present here. Thank you so much.
मेरा एक सवाल है, जैसे कि स्वधर्म में निधनम श्रेय, भगवत गीता में स्वधर्म के ऊपर बहुत जोर दिया गया है, लेकिन आपका जो पर्सनालिटी के ऊपर आप कहे हैं, वो पर्सनालिटी का एक बड़ा हिस्सा है स्वधर्म।
Yeah.
So I couldn't see that in that how it is fitting into your schema, whatever you have given.
Yes, good question. Actually, I have not even touched the term dharma yet. So I have not talked about Swadharma. I will talk about Swadharma when next lecture when I talk about the dharma field.
Okay, because that is a part of personality which
Yes.
which is not there in the Western tradition, but it is very innate to the Indian tradition.
That is
Like
correct.
Swadharma.
That is perfectly right. And
Okay.
Swadharma is a very Swabhav and Swadharma, two powerful concepts and ideas, fields come into play.
Yeah.
So I will discuss those. That's why I have used the word Yogadharma. They cannot be separated. They cannot be fundamentalists. They're all entangled together. They cannot be separated. Yoga is dharma. Dharma is the yoga. And I will differentiate those in the subtle way or their meanings. So that's why I have not used yet the personality called Swadharma. I will do that in next lecture when I talk about the dharma. So hold on till then, and that gives me more an incentive to call you back, to bring you back to this lecture series. Question mark. Thank you.
Okay. So there is another thing I am having, like, generally Purusa Sabda is defined as Puri Sayanath.
Yeah.
Purusha. But you have defined in a little different way that Puri Sayanath, not Sayanath, but that person who is sitting on the...
Yeah.
physically body. So that is a sleeping and sitting. There is a two different things. So
Yes,
that
actually,
I want to clarify.
yes. I think this is very, very, very important that you pointed this out. Actually, since I have not used the Sanskrit, what do you call Sandhi Vikshid, so somehow the English, equivalent is not easy to do that. But you are right, Puri Saha.
See, generally that goes back to the, what do you call this? Lord Vishnu is sleeping on the Anantanaga Sayanam.
Yes.
Right. And in the body, that will be sleeping. All the dualities, all the works will be going on, but he will be not affected by that. It's Sakshi Bhav Yoga. So therefore, these are the things which are very well gel with the definition of the Purusha.
I fully agree with you, because when we bring in the concept of what you call the 3 stages of sleeping, susupti, and 3 stages, and these 3 stages, once you have achieved the last stage of sleeping, then what remains is the Purusha.
Yeah.
What remains is the Purusha, which separates from the Prakriti. At that instant, when you're in deep sleep, then the world disappears, your body disappears, you remain Atman, or you remain Purusha. Any other question? Hello.
I have a question, not a question. The last email says that the next lecture is at 9:30 a.m. or is it 8 a.m.?
It's the same time, sir.
I got one email which says that next lecture on 26th is at 9:30 a.m. Is it at 9:30 or same as 8 a.m.?
No, same as 8 a.m.
Okay.
Same as 8 a.m. Next lecture. And just, probably I will not be able to finish this series yet. So I may have to extend this one for a couple of lectures beyond 26th of August. Because next series that I want to, once we have built up the foundation and ending at a certain juncture, then next session I will be talking about the practical aspects, evolution of the our personality in terms of the Nat Sastra, Sangeet Sastra, all kinds of Sastra, Sanskriti, Varnashram Vyavastha, stages of life, all those aspects come into play based on the foundation that we just laid it down. So they will come here, then we will have real fun to experience directly what the foundation is about. So hold on to it, and be very much grateful to your support, cooperation, your great questions, your presence in the class. Because if there's nobody in the classroom, the teacher, what the teacher is going to do? So this is very important. This is for my own enlightenment as well. Always Srota and Bhakta got enlightened together. This is the crux of the problem. The issues are so wonderful, beautiful that both get enlightened simultaneously. Pranam. If there is no further question, pranam to all. And Dr. Mishraji, still you are here?
Yes, I'm there.
I will be sending information on your talk.
Okay.
So next week.
Yes, please.
ASAP.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. My warm regards to everyone. Shrutiji,
Yes, sir.
so this is done. We can end
Yeah.
the session.